Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, stop this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. Everybody in this context refers to us and our cats. You are free to feel however you want about Rand. He's a fictional character. Please don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
Hey, this is Everybody Hates Rand, your friendly neighborhood Wheel of Time podcast. I'm Emily Jushaw.
And I'm Sally Goodger.
It's threatening to be another short one today, partly because not much to talk about.
And they're relatively short chapters for Wheelie Time World, too.
Also, because I have to, I don't live in Salt Lake, Daisy.
We're trying to sell some stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah,
and
I'm selling we're selling some things, and a girl's coming to pick them up, and I have no idea when she'll be here, but that's, so if I have to run out extremely fast, that's why. But we'll see. So, the climactic White Tower sequence be upon ye.
Not very climactic.
Not very climactic. It was a lot more exciting the first time I read it. This is the third time, and it's, hasn't aged well.
Yeah.
In my own sort of reckoning of how things are. There he is.
There's some very cool, imagery around Egg.
Yeah.
I think. Or at least, the image of her just,
blowing
pterodactyls out of the sky.
Standing in a hole in the wall, blowing pterodactyls out of the sky, which clearly inspired some other people, because that's what the cover art is in the, new era, Wheel of Time covers, where they commissioned, different artists for each one.
Oh, yeah.
A real slap in the face to Daryl K. Sweet, if you ask me. They
were
Daryl not only could we find someone better than you to do your job, but we found 14 other people. Anyway, The Gathering Storm has a cool cover, and it certainly makes The Gathering Storm, the book, seem like a much cooler book than it ends up being.
Yeah.
Because of how scant the action is in this book. This is the only, fight scene
of any this kind does we've had. Whip.
Yeah.
They really did make this just look like a dragon.
They were just let's show this gal slaying dragons.
Peek at the Shanshan in its weird insect helmet.
Yeah.
Looks like Peter Pan.
That's a very fanciful sort of version of that.
Well, good for her. Her dress is a real slay. It's got a high collar and a lot of cleavage.
Oh, yeah. She's got little shoulder pads for days. They're gotta let you know that Egg's titties are out.
While she's fighting the Shanshan.
They'd let the novices walk around titties out. Yeah. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I said I would be no way, bitch.
Novices aren't people, let alone women with sexual desires. Are you kidding?
Yeah, novices don't even have rights.
Yeah, novices don't have rights.
But anyway, here we are. It's time for Gawyn to ruin everything.
As usual.
As fucking usual.
It's the Gawyn Ruins Everything show. If you're thinking that now, then just wait for the next two books.
I know. I was I know Emily told me that Gawyn, really fucks up big. And I was is this just, the smallest one of those big fuck-ups?
Gawyn just fucks up constantly. Mostly involving Egg's agency.
I read a little bit into the next chapter where she's basically what the fuck is wrong with you? Mm-hmm. And she's we'll talk about this later. And he's no, we're gonna talk about it now. I've been waiting to talk to you for forever. And she's too bad, loser.
I have a career. Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, and she's I have to go fix the damage that you did. And he's but what about my man feelings?
She's get in your place, piss boy.
Yeah, and he's but what about I'm a man feeling? I'm a man.
She's maybe Greta Gerwig will write a movie about your feelings.
Then will you calm down?
That's the sort of feminist text this is. So,
I hate him. There's no character on this planet's literature that I hate more.
I know.
He's just so hateable.
He's just like, it's so infuriating because he's not even designed to be hateable.
Yeah, everyone's like,
he just is that way.
Boy, and I'm like, no, he fucking sucks. I hope he gets hit by a bus.
At least he's like universally hated, designed or not. I've only ever seen like 2 people be like, I love Gawyn, and they were incels, probably, so.
Well, that's how Gawyn's really acting. Real fucking incel behavior when he's like, but Egg, I've been fighting for you for so long, and this is in the next chapter, I should stop talking about it. I've been fighting for you for so long, and I've decided that I want this.
And she's like, okay, great unilateral decision for both of us, thank you. Whatever.
She should just have him executed. If my boyfriend did this and I was the young pope.
If I was the young pope. Remember how the young pope was just Jude Law, who's like 50? That's so annoying. What about a younger pope? What about a pope who
Timothee Chalamet? Please, Hollywood, you're underutilizing Timothée.
I would actually be really down for Timothée Chalamet as the young pope, because I feel like that's a role he could truly body, you know? Like, just, if he just came in there like a Euphoria teen on his fucking vape pen.
Into the Vatican.
Yeah.
Euphoria teen.
Yeah.
We've dropped the cast of Euphoria into the Vatican.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I'm here to make chocolate.
I'm making chocolate, of course.
I'm making chocolate, of course.
It's the second week in a row. Or maybe it was in the Watch Out window.
I'm making Catholics, of course. Holding a baptismal gun. I made a gun.
Dumps his squirt gun in the baptismal
That was like
font.
an image, you know, from early COVID of people holding up their baby to be baptized. Because, you know, babies in Catholicism, they just get
they get their
sprinkling.
little.
Which, honestly, sissies. I had to get dunked full body.
Yeah, there are some sects
and I was afraid of water, so.
American Christianity in particular that really just grab you by the back of the head and say, good luck in there.
Yeah, you don't know anything about what it's like to be baptized until you've been baptized 20 times in a row for dead people.
Yeah.
By some random. That was always the worst part.
Yeah, don't touch me.
I know, it was always just some strange man. Because God knows my dad could never go.
Yikes.
Mr. Busy. Hey guys, guess what? We're going to Japan.
We're going to Japan!
Japan! So for all of the shit talking we've done on Chris.
He's taking us to Japan.
He's taking us to, not just us.
Me,
My
Emily, and
whole
Chris. The vacation trio of the century.
Yeah, he enjoyed hanging out with us in Greece so much.
So much.
No, we're going with my whole family. There was an extensive voting procedure, and Sally and I lobbied hard for Japan, and now...
And we were successful.
Okay, anyway, sorry. Stay on task. We haven't even talked about the actual content of these chapters. So, it starts out with Gawyn, Bryn, and Swan entering Tarvalon via this little hole in the wall that they got pointed out to, which is just, like, so very clearly Deus Ex Machina. Everyone's like, Swan's like, I can't believe I'm the Amerlin Sea and I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
And Bryn's like, well, Swan, and mansplains how cities work.
Yeah.
He's like, well, Swan, every wall has fucking holes in it, so maybe think about that.
And she's like, but the whole point of Tarvalon is that it doesn't.
Yeah, she's like, the whole point is that it's invulnerable. And he's like, well, too bad.
No city's invulnerable.
No city's invulnerable, you idiot woman.
Gosh.
He calls her woman too much.
No.
Hey, woman.
If I were
like
the
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
If I were the ex-Amerlin Sea, I would have my boyfriend executed.
Yeah, exactly.
More boyfriend executions, please. Wheel of Time.
Anyway, it's not just the 3 of them going in. They are with a number of soldiers. That number is unclear. Yeah. It seems that there are several dozen, at least, based on the casualty count later. But Bryn has concocted this plan where each of them has like a fake tower guard uniform. He's like, this won't stand up to close inspection, but it'll fool other people. And Swan's like, that's not very honorable. And Gareth Bryn, champion of honor, is like, fuck you, it's modern warfare.
Yeah,
And also, it's obviously a good plan.
Yeah, it's also very funny. He says he had some women in the camp make them, and it's like, didn't you decide to do this 45 minutes ago?
Yeah, he's like, it's always a good idea to have a few copies of your enemy's uniform. And I'm like, you've been telling Egg for months that you're not getting into Tarvalon, so
what's
the truth?
whatever.
Gareth? Whatever. But they kind of masquerade as, like, Swan and Aes Sedai going to the tower to help, and her warders and a bunch of tower guard. They get to the tower, where obviously everything is very chaotic, and they're like, now what? And Swan's like, we're just gonna have to find Egg, and we'll just start in the basements and work our way up, because last I heard she was in the basements. Mm-hmm. And it's obviously like, okay, well, we know that she's far, far, far above the basements. We then switch over to Saren's point of view. Saren's one of the Black Aja hunters. She's the one who's technically been in charge of them, kind of, and has been sort of a leading figure in the White Tower these days. She has sort of set up a, like, command station down at the ground floor of the tower, and is trying to organize things. It's all pretty annoying. We get Captain Chubain. He's like 40-something.
Yeah, but Brandon Sanderson has to let us know that he's, like, really hot.
He's, like, mega hot.
And everyone thinks he's not competent because he's super hot, but he's, like, really good at swords, which is just, like, Galad 2.0.
I know! So, they're like, hey, gay boy, you can't lead any...
You can't lead any people.
And he's like, but my sword! So he's like a mix of Galad and Gawyn.
Yeah. Hey, gay boy. Hi, gay.
Hi, gay.
Okay. This episode has gone off the
I'm so sorry. It's just that he was introduced and I immediately was like, isn't there a guy who's exactly like him but in Andor? Like a mega hot young commander.
Yeah. Isn't that, what's his name? Charlz Guybon?
Guybon, yeah. And it fucks me up because it's Charlz and then Chubain. So they both have Ch names.
They're basically the same
Anyway,
character.
I think they should fuck nasty, so.
Yeah, sure.
I ship them. They've never interacted in my entire life. But they have so much in common.
They're my OTP.
Yeah. Anyway, he approaches Saren and is like, here's what's going on. We're having a real tough time fighting these guys. And she's like, well, then use arrows, duh. And I'm like, do you think this man isn't using arrows?
She's like, they've only been using butter knives. They've gone into attack at close quarters only.
I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys. It's so frustrating just listening to people be like, you're an idiot to each other over and over again. When it's like, there's no, like, that can be satisfying in a, like, Ocean's 11 type situation where it's all fun and banter and people genuinely like each other at a core level. But, like, now it's just like, ugh.
Everyone fucking hates each other, apparently. And nobody's actually trying. Saren's like, I'm just trying to actually organize a resistance. And then she's just fucking mean to everybody she talks to.
And it's like, great. I hope that works out for you. Katarine shows up and is like, this is terrible, I'm in charge. And Saren's like, no, you're not. You can't just be in charge.
Yeah.
And that's just, you know, dumb power dynamics. But Saren's also like, okay, there's like two sort of centers of resistance. There's the one down here on the ground level, and then there's one further up on the 22nd or 23rd floors is what they're hearing. A second rallying point for the defense. And it's so well that the Shanshan are leaving the sort of lower levels to focus up there. And Saren and Katarina are like, what's on the 22nd and 23rd levels? And they're like, oh, it used to be the Brown Aja quarters, now it's the novice quarters. Gasp. Cinematic gasp. Yeah. It must be Egg. It's like the most dumb.
Egg. She's up there.
She must be up there.
Throwing bombs.
Yeah, we then flash over to Egg, who is just like, I'm gonna fuck these guys up.
Yeah.
And is just fucking guys up.
Yeah, and it's just like, me and my magic wand are...
Yeah, she's like, just me and my magic wand. She's like, I know I'm not gonna, like, totally win this fight, because it's a raid, you know, it can't really be won. Surprise attack is always gonna end up with some people dead and some people captured, but I'm gonna make sure that they never do this again, because they'll be like, oh shit, we lost so many people, it wasn't worth it. Which, you know, as strategies go, is a sensible one.
Sure.
We then switch over to Gareth Bryn, who is down on ground level, I think, like, on the grounds themselves. Mm-hmm. He, like, has to dodge because a pterodactyl gets shot out of the sky. How hilarious would it have been if Egg sniped a pterodactyl and it killed Gareth Bryn?
Would have been really iconic.
Real butterfly flaps its wings and...
only more iconic if it killed Gawyn.
And Robert Jordan was like, isn't this tragic?
And we were all like, no.
No, bestie. It was actually extremely funny.
Yeah. It was one of your better ideas.
Yeah, so stupid. Bran, like, dodges this because Gawyn warned him, and then he looks over and he's like, oh, Gawyn's engaging 2 guys at once. What an idiot. But then Gawyn's so good at swords and so sick at fighting.
Yeah.
That he just takes care of it easily. And Bran's like, whoa. Even I found that sexy. And it's just like, why? I'm trying to understand why the decision has been made in this book specifically, because I don't really feel like there's much of a through line to earlier books. I don't know why Brandon Sanderson, assuming it was him, was like, I have to magnify Gawyn's sword abilities to a truly unrealistic level.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, it's been, like, attention has been called to it so many times.
Yeah.
It's been so unrealistic.
Yeah.
So OP, and it's been from multiple people's points of view, not just Gawyn's, so we know he's not just exaggerating his own prowess. That it's like, are we supposed to believe that Gawyn's, like, doping or something? Like... Because when we met him and first saw him sword fight back in book 3, he got his ass kicked by a man who had just stumbled out of his sickbed 2 hours earlier and had a stick.
Yeah.
And in that, like, fight generally, Matt was like, Gawyn's fine, Galad's better. Better. And then every time we've seen Gawyn since then, it's been kind of like, yeah, he did... like, defeat this one warder, presumably in single combat. That's always possible if you get lucky, and also Gawyn is young, and this guy was not, so, blah, you know, it wasn't, like, that much of a stretch to believe that Gawyn could have killed this guy. And then it's just been, like, Gawyn doing sort of normal soldiering things.
Yeah.
We haven't been, like, he's the best swordsman in an entire century, you know?
Yeah.
His midichlorian count is off the charts. Is that what they're called? Midichlorian?
In Star Wars?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just like the most dumbass reasoning for the chosen one, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is either. Like you said in an earlier episode, whether or not it was Brandon Sanderson's decision, it really does make Gawyn seem like Brandon Sanderson's most special favorite boy.
Yeah.
And it's really grating. Again, I don't know if that is actually something we can pin on Brandon Sanderson. And it grates me especially because the subjective experience for me of reading it is like, Egg is also becoming extremely powerful in this book, not just politically, but we see her here channeling in like huge amounts. She's learning so much. She's just such an unstoppable force. And all of a sudden it's like, well, her romantic interest is being reintroduced to the plot, and now we have to make sure that, like, he can hold water against her.
Yeah, like, she's not only the best Aes Sedai who ever lived, she's the best Amaryllis who ever lived, so he has to be the best warder who ever lived.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's stupid. We already know the best warder who ever lived is Brigitte, so...
Yeah.
You're not gonna compete.
Duh. Yeah, and it's, like, it's this very frustrating... presentation of like a woman cannot have a partner who is less quote unquote successful than she is.
Yeah.
Suddenly Gawyn has to be the best general, the best fighter, the best warder, the best strategist, none of which are really
remotely true.
Yeah.
Or should be.
Or
in any
should be.
reasonable sense.
It would be totally fine and wonderful if Gawyn was just, like, a dude that Egg really loved.
Yeah, like, the whole warder thing, as Gareth Bryn has been telling us throughout his last few sections, is, like, it sort of does, like, magnify your abilities. So even, there are so many warders, you know? And all of them, presumably, were just more or less normal guys.
Yeah.
Guys who were, you know, pretty good in terms of swords, fighting, martial prowess. That's in line with Gawyn, whatever. They don't all have to be the best.
Yeah.
At martial prowess. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, it's...
Let me put this in terms Brandon Sanderson would understand, because he's so invested in imbuing every single one of his characters with, like, game mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
You can have multiple fighter class people on the field, you know, and that doesn't diminish the abilities of any of the other ones. You don't have to have them all be level 11 and only Gawyn's level 20.
Yeah, I was about to say, it really feels like someone has, like, modded their game pack so their level 100 character from their last playthrough is at the beginning of the next
game. Yeah, clearly someone min-maxed Gawyn here. Like, just take out every single one of his wisdom and intelligence points. Pour that shit into strength and dex. You stupid assholes.
Yeah, so he doesn't really make sense. And there's, like, again, from the feminist lens of this text, it's very annoying to all of a sudden have to be like, Gawyn can hold his ground, which is obviously not true because he's making bad strategic decisions.
Yeah, I think you're totally right to sort of pinpoint it as like Egg has been leveled up so far that now we have to level up Gawyn to match her. Which I think, you know, is already gross from a feminist perspective. You can have people have different skill sets.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine in a partnership. But also from a narrative level, it doesn't make much sense because so much of Gawyn's arc, both in this book and in the next two, is about sort of his inferiority complex next to Egg. And it's like, that doesn't ring very true when he's also the best sword boy that's ever lived.
Yeah.
So, it's like, you know, maybe that would hold a little bit more water if he was just kind of an average guy.
Yeah, if he was just a guy.
And was just stressed because Egg is the best Amaryllis seed of all time, so she's going to be the target of millions of assassination attempts, like, probably.
And how am I gonna handle this?
He's like, I'm just a dude, you know, with my warder powers and some... you know, a sort of baseline skill set that might help me because I was raised in a palace, but...
Sure.
Instead, we're just like, Gawyn's the best, and he's just like, well, since I'm the best, I want to be the best person in the partnership. I want to win at partner, which is something that is both possible and normal to want.
Yeah. And it's not, Gawyn.
It's not, and it just makes everyone come out looking weird and stupid.
Yeah.
So, that's Gawyn's sword tangent.
Yeah, he's so good at swords, you guys.
He's so good at swords. Anyway.
He, like, kicks Gareth Bryn's sword into his hand and it's some
like,
shit.
Oh my god. Imagine if he'd, you know, when... you know the meme of, like, everyone watches The Two Towers and is like, that's where Viggo Mortensen broke his toe? Yeah. How iconic would it have been if Gawyn tried to kick this sword and just slashed his entire foot off?
Yeah, Gawyn could be a charming character if he had a sort of Bella Swan level of incompetence and clumsiness about it.
Bella, hey Loco, where you been?
That's Gawyn.
That's Gawyn. Gawyn, like, points up to where Egg is and is like, check that out. And Bryn looks up at it and, like, can't see distinguishing features, but very clearly makes out, like, a person in a white dress doing incredible power stuff. And it's like, we have been led to believe that Bryn is a smart guy, capable of, you know, putting some logic together. Bryn is well enough acquainted with Aes Sedai to know that a white dress probably means a novice.
Yeah.
He knows that the only novice capable of fucking up the Shanshin is Egg. So then later when they're like, well, where could Egg be? And no one, I, like, thought that he made that assumption, you know? And they're all just like, we don't know. I was like, what? You just saw her. Stupid. Whatever. Bryn is trying to organize his soldiers to, like, send back the wounded. He's like, I'm gonna have to leave some of them to die here because I can't get healing anywhere. He's also like, where's Swan? Swan comes back with some novice that she found, and this novice is like, yeah, Egg's up in the novice quarters. So, yet again, they should probably be like, oh, that's Egg.
That's Egg. That one.
Yeah, like, she's like, the novice quarters, to be clear, are on the 22nd floor. And they're like,
who could that be?
Who could that be?
That's a crazy, powerful novice.
Stupid.
I bet she'll be the Emerald Seat one day.
They're like, okay, well, let's make our way up there. And Swan's like, oh, let me heal your guys. And Bryn's like, whoa, she's willing to heal my guys. This must be true love. And it's like, if she was unwilling to heal your guys, that would be, like...
cruel.
Pretty fucked up, you know? Anyway. While she's healing them... Bryn senses, with his new warder senses, somebody about to, like, leap from the shadows and slay them, both. He manages to kill them first. It's one of these, we know, blood knives. From the Shanshan, so 1 down, 4 to go. Mm-hmm. And Swan realizes, because of Min's viewing from books and books ago, when Min was like, you need to stick to Bryn because you guys will save each other's lives or whatever. And Swan's like, oh, that's so weird. She said we have to stay close to each other and save each other's lives. Then she makes the intuitive leap that maybe Bryn has been poisoned. She finds out that he has, heals him, and they're all like, great, how cool. Thanks, Min. Min's done something useful. Anyway, they run off. Then we cut to Egg, who just has this sort of like very YA protagonist pass out moment so that she can be both conscious and unconscious when she is picked up and carried away by the love of her life. Mm-hmm. It's very Twilight. It's very Twilight. Yeah. It's very, I would say, romance genre generally. Yeah. This sort of like floaty, half-conscious state where a strong man picks you up and takes you somewhere. Sure. And you just can't resist because you're so exhausted. Sure. I don't know. I don't actually know what to say about that. It's incredibly distasteful and weird to have Egg, who was nuking pterodactyls 5 minutes ago, suddenly be reduced to heroine of a romance novel.
Yeah, and I'll say I don't like with so many like romance novel tropes, they have like a weird nugget of
non-consent.
Yeah, dubious non-consent.
Yeah.
Which is like really, that's like such a difficult thing to unpack for that genre, and we will not attempt it here. But it's so frustrating because it's like, there's part of me that's like, of course Egg would be exhausted after this, you know, of course she would probably just like completely conk out. But it would almost have been better if she was just completely unconscious for some reason, in my mind, because it's like, again, she just gets totally nerfed down to like, suddenly we have to bring her down to a level in which Gawyn can save her.
Yeah, it's also incredibly annoying because, with this, like, non-con thing, there are very few situations in which someone is unconscious and you can't wake them up.
Yeah.
Like, and if she's not waking up and you're trying to wake her up, then that is an actual medical problem. Yeah. But there's no actual attempt to wake Edwin up. Gawyn stumbles across her seemingly unconscious body. Yeah. Gareth Bryn's like, is she wounded? And they're like, no, it doesn't seem like it, but she was just left here. And they just are like, okay, that's grounds for us to whisk her away.
To just take her.
Without sort of talking to her about what she wants.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. In terms of, like, actual fainting, people do not typically stay unconscious for very long. And if they do, suddenly we're entering more into, like, are they in a fucking coma? Like, what's going on? So I guess what I really mean is, like, it would be one thing if Egg had just, like, fallen asleep. Yeah. Been like, I am exhausted, I have sat down to try and gather my wits, and I just fell into a very deep sleep. That would still have been annoying, because then Egg does not get a say in whether or not she is taken from the White Tower, which is, of course, the core of the issue. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody thinks to, like you said, try and wake Egg up. Even if she were asleep, they should have tried to wake her up. Gareth, Swan, and Gawyn are all making incredible intuitive leaps about the fact that Egg is in danger, without talking to any of the novices who, like, at least have the benefit of not being Aes Sedai and perhaps being more acquainted with Egg, because Egg was also a novice. You know, like, one of them could probably tell them what just happened, but they're all just like, no way.
Yeah, like, to be clear, the whole Gareth, Gawyn, and Swan go to rescue Egg from the White Tower subplot has been fine up until this point.
Yeah.
Because as you pointed out last time, like, you know, Swan promised Egg, I won't come rescue you unless you are in danger.
Yeah.
And they have every reason to think Egg is in danger. Until they get here, find Egg seemingly uninjured.
Yeah.
Not in danger, because the Shanshin are gone.
Yeah.
And are just like, okay, well, we're taking her anyway.
Yeah.
Like, there's a real, just, like, leap of, a leapfrogging of consent there.
Yeah.
All of which is to say they deserve every bit of Egg chewing them out in the next chapter, and if I were Egg, I would, like, not trust any of them anymore.
Yeah, I'd be like, Swan, you're not my advisor anymore. Gareth, I'm gonna look for a new captain of my guard.
Yeah, like, that was fucked up.
Yeah, like, you absolutely should have tried to speak to me before taking me out of there, even if you thought I was in danger.
Especially, I mean, just because this little dreamy sequence has been set up so perfectly that it is apparently just Egg and these three alone.
Yeah.
So it's like, they could have woken her up, she's like, I'll check in with you tomorrow, but I'm fine for now.
Yeah.
Then they just leave again.
Yeah.
With no one ever seeing them, or that being an issue.
Especially now that you have a way into the city.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Jesus, the more we talk about it, the angrier I get. And it's just so disgusting as an image for Egg to have been, like, in this incredible leadership role throughout the raid, really organizing the forces of the tower, exercising a lot of good strategy and getting this terangrial, and then just, like, showcasing her incredible power and ability, and then just be like, oh, but at the end a big man carries her away.
The best sword boy.
Oh my gosh, you remember how little she is? How petite and feminine she is?
How big his penis is. I mean his sword. Because, guys, swords are phallic. I just have to remind everyone of that every time.
I would not even care if Gawyn's whole thing was that he's just, like, a great fuck.
Yeah.
That's his whole role is Egg's like, this is my boyfriend who I like having sex with.
Yeah, he's a fantastic lay.
And everyone's like, okay.
Great, do your thing.
Sure. But the fact that it's just this, like, layer upon layer of Gawyn just being so good at swords.
We then cut back over to Saren, just so that we can get the news through her that Aleida is missing. And, you know, at the end of the raid, everything is kind of, everyone's getting back into place. They're like, oh no, Aleida got captured, as witnessed by this one, novice or accepted or whatever. Then we cut to Aleida being carried on the back of one of these flying creatures, waking up and realizing she's been collared. It's just our classic torture porn sequence of, look at this bad woman. Now she's getting the consequences of her actions, which no human should ever have to face.
Yeah, it's like, once again, same as with Galena, it's like, look at what is happening to this mean lesbian for being such a mean lesbian, and we're just going to make her suffer deeply inhuman things as a consequence for being mean.
Yeah. We're also, like, there's an element of this that's supposed to be celebratory.
Yeah, it's like
we're supposed to be like, oh, fuck yeah, Aleida's now out of the tower, she can't stand in Egg's way anymore, and also, she'll get what she deserves.
It's like, no human deserves this.
Yeah, and also, it's way more interesting when there are more barriers for our hero to deal with.
Yeah, it's like...
Like, this situation of Egg now having to consolidate the Aes Sedai is a lot more interesting if Aleida is still there.
Yeah, if everyone in the tower was like, Aleida, you did jack fuck all during that, Aleida could have a very, like, the leader ran and hid arc here, and then everyone is finally like, Egg actually did something. So yeah, if we're gonna have an Amberlin, it's gonna be this one. Yeah,
like, it would be great if Egg got to succeed again based on her own successes and power, rather than just Deus Ex Machina plucking Aleida off the game board.
Yeah. Boo. Tomato, tomato.
Okay, then we get to Rand's latest crime against humanity, which is that he is in the process of leaving Eridomon. He's like, boy, these people sure do seem like they need some help. Unfortunately, I am not going to give it to them, and I am not equipped to give it to them, and I am actively abandoning them. Bashir is like Rand talks to Bashir, is like, hey, is everything in place for the Eridomani to select their new government? Like, he has only ever managed to find a minimal amount of their council, which is not technically enough to elect a new king, so they have to pick new counselors. And Bashir's like, yeah, they've got their instructions, but pretty sure they are just going to, like, abandon the city as soon as you're not breathing down their necks anymore. And Rand is like, meh. Oh, well.
Like, well, I did what I could.
He's like, what's the status of Eturog? Bashir's like, not good. They're starting to get, like, raids from Trollocs, and I don't think he's going to be happy when he finds out that you are not here anymore. And Rand's like, oh, well, once he abandons the borderlands, then that's fine. I'll just send someone else. And I'm like, oh my god.
Which is another, like, incredible assumption that Rand is making. I think Eturald has every right to abandon the borderlands, but for Rand to just be like, well, he will definitely do that and come back to Eridomon, and then maybe he'll think of something.
Yeah, he's like, well, the next thing we have to do is just talk to the borderlanders, I guess, because I have no idea what the fuck they're doing. And Bashir's like, yeah, I don't know what they're doing either. Shrug emoji. Like, Rand's like, go find out where they actually are so I can go confront them. Bashir's like, peace out. Then a guy comes up right as Rand is about to leave and is like, hey, Rand, hey, Dragon Reborn, just so you know, all of the food that you have ordered into the city has spoiled. And people from all around the countryside, refugees, have been coming to Eridomon specifically because Rand was sort of
promising food.
Which was like, kind of, there was already a, well, is there going to be enough problem? And now it's just all gone. He's like, what are you going to do? And Rand is like, doesn't say anything, just leaves.
Yeah, it's, like, so dickish.
He's just like, goodbye. And it's like, okay, so leaving some people to starve.
Yep, just to starve to death.
And then they walk into Tyr, where they are celebrated immensely.
It's
because
disgusting.
I mean, there's a sort of, like, you know, setup quality to it. Like, this is clearly, like, it's almost like Darlin was stage directing in the background.
Now
like,
cheer!
Okay, we gotta make the Dragon Reborn feel welcome. But, like, as Rand has pointed out, every other country he's been in has, like, he's removed one of the Forsaken or done something else, you know, objectively helpful for the country. He's like, I just went into Eridomon, did fuck all, and then left. And now they're gonna starve if the Shanshin don't get them. He's like, and I don't know why these people are celebrating me because I failed with the Shanshin, so they're probably going to get taken over along with Ilian. And Bashir's like, ooh, that's a pretty, like, mercenary position to take. And Rand's like, yeah, well, I don't care anymore about anything. And we're all supposed to be like, oh, poor baby. Rand gets up to the Stone of Tyr, meets with Darlin and Dobrain. He also mentions Weramon. Weramon is always given way more word count than he deserves for just being, like, a guy. In the next book, we'll find out that Weramon is a dark friend, and it's just like, who cares? Has he done anything about that? No.
No. It is very funny, though. Rand is like, Weremon's a fucking loser. I fucking hate him. What a piece of shit. And Lutheran is like, I like him.
Lutheran's like, I like him. He's an idiot, but, you know, we just know he's an idiot, so
yeah,
he's easy.
Not like he's unpredictable.
Yeah. Rand's like, God, you're fucked
like,
up.
Shut up.
He's like, here, look at all of my people who I don't like gathered in one place. He's like, okay, Darlin, get ready to march. And Darlin's like, oh yeah, to Eridomon, like you said. And Ron's like, no, we're going to Shalgol.
Imagine being Darlin.
I know, Darlin, who has been given like 6 conflicting sets of orders in this time.
I would just...
This poor man.
Start screaming.
And I'd be like... So, that's those chapters. So fun. Fun and fresh. Lots of bad things happening.
A lot of men behaving badly.
Yeah. Next section, we'll get another Egg, Rand, Twofer. More men behaving badly.
Nice.
You know, just that sort of stuff.
I wish they'd stop.
We will at least see the return of the king, by whom I mean Hurin, from book 2.
Are you joking?
Yeah,
I thought he would
gets a
never
little
come
cameo
back.
appearance.
Oh, that's my favorite character.
You dropped this king.
You dropped this king?
It's his nose because...
Yeah, because that's a really
That's his whole
sick
skill set.
power. If I could smell violence or whatever he does, I can't even remember
No,
if
that's
it's violence or, like, danger.
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 I smell danger. So, that's where we're at. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
The Shanshan have been turned away from the White Tower.
Goodbye. But they'll come back for Tyr, Ilian, and Eridamon, and Rand will be like, take them. I'm serving them on a silver
I'm
platter.
gonna be like, listen.
As long as you don't interfere with me fighting the Dark One, I don't give a shit.
I feel like there are so many ways Rand could have been a better. I know everyone's like, don't cast stones, but I feel like Rand could have been done this so many ways different in terms of like, I don't know, getting some partners to help do all the political stuff while he did all the Dragon Reborn fighting stuff.
Yeah, it sure seems like he could have done pretty much anything other than what he does, but here we are.
Rand's too busy being like, nobody controls me. I'm a man.
Rand's
And
too
I've
busy
been
blaring
correct.
Linkin Park and
I
crying.
wanna push you around.
Well, I will. Well, I will.
I'm sorry. I wanna push you around.
Yeah. Don't forget that crucial enunciation.
Literally, Rand's been listening to that the whole time.
Okay, thank you for listening. Thanks to Glenna McKenzie for our theme song. Thanks to our patrons on Patreon and our followers on social media.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
No.
Okay, do you have a sign off?
Let me think for a second. Do you have anything?
I have one. I got my second award from my company for being, you guessed it, diverse.
Diverse. She got the Diversity Award of Excellence or something.
Yeah, I gave the trophy to my brother-in-law, and now it's on his bedside table.
Yeah, and he really loves it. And
loves
he
it.
really... What?
The first one is at my mom's house. So.
Yeah, Emily's just giving him out like candy.
Yep.
Because she's so diverse.
I'm hoping to accumulate one per year for the next 5 years of my career or so that I can just send them to every single one of my family members' houses. But yeah, I've never come out at work.
And they're just like, something
about her shaved head and her sort of teen boy apparel makes us think maybe.
Maybe. Emily also got misgendered at work last year.
Oh yeah, last year when they presented the award, they used they/them pronouns, despite the fact that I have never asked anyone to use they/them pronouns. You all should really try working in Utah sometime. It's so fun. Have a good week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.